You know what's one of my favorite parts about talking about webtoons on YouTube is? It's your comments. I really do love reading them. And you guys often suggest webtoons that I have never heard of. Webtoons like Code Adam, Socializing 101, Lalin's Curse, and our topic for today, Purple Hyacinth. Now, Purple Hyacinth is more than just a flower in Animal Crossing New Horizons that I can't seem to get, but a very interesting webtoon suggested by one of you. Oh, and spoilers, I guess. Let me quickly explain the plot of this webtoon. Lauren Sinclair is an officer of the Kingdom of Artelis, with an interesting and unique ability. She has the ability to understand when people are lying, which makes her an extremely helpful part of the police force. However, no one knows that she has this ability. Lauren is out for revenge after a secret shadow organization causes a train crash and supposedly kills her best friend. What's with these webtoons and secret shadow organizations killing large amounts of people? Whatever. Lauren teams up with the infamous assassin known for leaving Purple Hyacinth at the scene of his crimes, and together they try and find and take down the leader of the secret shadow organization known as Phantom Scythe. It's a wonderful and interesting webtoon, and you should definitely read it if you haven't, because you probably have some free time on your hands due to the current situation, let's say. But you should definitely give it a read. And with Season 1 completed, we are patiently awaiting for Season 2. But I wanted to see if I could get a jump on what awaits us in the future. As I've mentioned, Lauren the police officer and Kyron, the infamous assassin, make an unlikely duo to try and track down the leader of the Phantom Scythe. But that's just the thing. We don't know who the leader is. In fact, no one does, which is part of the charm. The webtoon likes to add an air of mystery, with the big question being the one I just asked before. Who is the leader of Phantom Scythe? Now, a few things need to be stated before going into a theory like this. Well, really only one. It's very possible that the leader of the Phantom Scythe hasn't been revealed yet. It's possible that we haven't even seen who they are yet. So, the theories that I'm presenting are all kind of assuming that we've met or seen the leader. So take these with a grain of salt. Now, before starting to point fingers at these characters, there are a few small bits of information and clues to help us narrow down who it could be. We have 3 types of evidence, with each varying levels of clarity. We have direct evidence, implied evidence, and assumed evidence. There really is only one thing we know for certainty. It's the pronoun he. When literally anyone mentions the leader of Phantom Scythe, they say he or him. And while it may be a guess for the police, we see Kieran, that fun assassin, call the leader he multiple times. And he's a well-known and trusted assassin in the ranks of Phantom Scythe. Our next piece of evidence isn't directly told to us, however it's still a good piece of evidence. It's age, or I guess age range. We don't know the exact age, but we can narrow it down based on their attacks. Do you remember that train crash I mentioned before? We get a little more detail on that attack. The Phantom Scythe's first public act of terrorism was Adeline train station bombing on November 13th, XX17. The city was inaugurating a new railway financed by the late King Edward. He was killed in the explosion along with many influential members of the government and nobility. 243 deaths. 328 wounded, 176 reported missing. Okay, while those details are nice, how do they help us narrow down a person? Well, we don't know the exact date, but we know that train bombing happened 10 years ago. So we're looking for anyone who's older, age at minimum 30, but the older would be the better. Our final piece of evidence isn't really presented to us, but it's something that we can kind of assume. Now, what is the goal of Phantom Scythe? Because unlike on Ordinary's Ember, we do know what the group is trying to do. While no one knows what the leader's real goal is, we do know the group's message. By announcing themselves in clear opposition to the monarchy, the Phantom Scythe sent a very strong message. They would consolidate power in the dark, until the day they could overthrow the crown and the class hierarchy it relies on. The plan of the Phantom Scythe is to overthrow the crown, the government, the hierarchy, the higher-ups. Now, if you were a part of a rebel alliance trying to overthrow your form of government, you would want as much power as possible. Maybe some pull, even. In fact, you wouldn't even join unless the leader had some great plan or even power in some sense. Which is our kind of assumed evidence. It's that the leader of Phantom Scythe has to have some power, whether it be political or in terms of wealth. Don't get me wrong, it's not confirmed, but it's hard to start a revolution to overthrow the government with a few people with next to no power. So those are our conditions: an older man with some form of power, whether it be financial or political. So first, let's start out with our main characters, because it would be a super cool twist if one of our main characters was secretly the leader of the group that they were trying to find and take down. But it's unlikely. We have lots of evidence, but based on a Q&A giving us lovely insight on how to say Hyacinth, and if a character was really dead, all lovely stuff, all lovely stuff. But we do get the ages of our main characters, and they're all in their early 20s during the main story. So it can't really be them, because it would be weird if the leader of the Phantom Scythe's first attack was like 12 years old. But speaking of police, someone who always has been strange was the captain of Lauren's precinct, Captain Herman, someone who gets mad way too easily. We see him get very mad when he gets a letter from Loon, which is the team of Lauren and Kieran, exposing the crimes of Gregory McTrevor, a Phantom Scythe member who has been difficult to lock up. Getting mad at verification of his crime seems a bit weird, but unfortunately it's not that simple. Yeah, he gets mad at it, but it's more of a pride thing. He doesn't want to accept help from a random and likely criminal person. But there's another reason why he's not. Harvey. Harvey is a police officer, I guess? He seemingly works in records, and acts as kind of like an intern sometimes. But more importantly, he was a spy. And while he was killed by the very organization that hired him, which, I guess if you're working for Phantom Scythe, you're in danger from being attacked from both the government and Phantom Scythe, which seems like a bad deal, but whatever. Anyways, it would be strange if the leader of Phantom Scythe was working in the same precinct as a spy that they sent in. So really, everyone in that precinct is also pretty safe. But I have been saving the most popular theory, Lauren's uncle. Lauren's uncle has a lot going against him. He is an older man, and he's the head of the Artless police departments. You know, in charge of the entire police force. All of it. That's a lot of power and pull in the police force and in even politics. And he's also weirdly suspicious. He often asks Lauren to stop and even take a break from this conspiracy board thing. And also looks incredibly suspicious in this shot. It would also just be thematically sound. Did I use that word right? I don't know. Also, it would be thematically sound / cool if the leader of Phantom Scythe, the person that Lauren has been tracking down for 10 years, was the person that was there for her after her parents died. If it was the person that has been kind and generous to her for these years. If it was her uncle. However, there is one moment that has persuaded me to think otherwise. Very early on in the webtoon, there is a person standing in a town square, purposely stirring up trouble, purposely placing doubts into the minds of the fellow townspeople, making them doubt the police force. This is a very smart move on behalf of the Phantom Scythe, making people doubt their police force, making them doubt their system in which they enforce justice. Is a good play. This man turns out to be a member of Phantom Scythe, and when she tries to convince her uncle, the head of the entire police force, that the person who started the riot was a member of Phantom Scythe, her uncle denies her, saying, "Lauren, I know you must be right, but now is not the time, and you know better than anyone that to open an investigation, we must have solid proof." Lauren can see when people lie, so she knows that "I know you must be right" is a lie. Why wouldn't the leader of Phantom Scythe know that the person who started the riots was a member? Sure, he doesn't need to know every member exactly, but this was such a smart move, it seemed planned. Why wouldn't the leader know about this plan, know about this move? If you've seen my theory videos, you know that I like to establish other people's theories and what other people think, because I think it establishes that I'm trying to view everyone's point of view. I'm trying to see what everyone sees. And then I say something, what I believe, what I think. Now, what if I said that from our 3 pieces of evidence or conditions, one of them was wrong, and it's not the one that you'd expect? Now imagine you're the leader of a secret shadow organization, hell-bent on overthrowing the current government and establishing your own version of society. You would want to make sure that nothing is known about you, because without you, without the leader, without the head, your organization is ruined. So as a leader of Phantom Scythe, you would want nothing to be known. And that's what he did, right? Well, not exactly. I just said the main issue I had with it. It felt weird how much to enforce the fact that the leader is a guy. Don't get me wrong, there are still a lot of people who are male, but that still narrows it down by like 50%. I think it's a ruse, a red herring, a bait. And this speculation isn't out of nowhere. When the team of Lauren and Kieran go on their first outing and question this man, they leave with Lauren saying, "One last thing. When the police ask you and you inevitably cave, tell them you saw 2 male individuals." The male part is in bold. It's especially strange and it makes sense. I think it was them trying to give us a little hint. People are lying about who they are. I think that the leader of Phantom Scythe is a female. And not only that, I think I know that the leader of Phantom Scythe is the High Queen of Artless, Elizabeth Everstarther. What is with Webtoon names? Okay, whatever. The Queen hasn't made a lot of appearances, only in 1 chapter. But in that 1 chapter, she's thrown up a number of red flags, constantly standing in the shadows, smiling at weird times, like when the king mentions that his father died in a train crash, and even being weirdly aggressive when talking about the death penalty. Measures need to be taken against these criminals. They deserve to be hanged. But since you abolished the death penalty, you need a softer way to get the message through. Remember, an older female who is in position of power? At the time before the train crash, she was the princess, and the train crash would boost her position of power to queen. Literally one of the most powerful positions. She is in the perfect place to overthrow the government. She knows all the secrets, everything about the kingdom, and she has the king in her pockets. Of course, we might have yet to meet the leader. But if we have, then I'm willing to bet on the Queen of Artless herself, Lisbeth. But that's just my theory. What about you? Do you think that the leader of the Phantom Scythe is female or even the queen? Or am I wrong? Will any of you watch this video because it's not on Ordinary? That's a joke, by the way. Please don't take that seriously. That's a joke. Please. But anyways, like always, thank you for watching.